there was some breaking news actually that happened just now that we wanted to talk about with RFK Jr. and his campaign. So his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, appeared on a podcast recently and is now talking about dropping out of the race, her and RFK Jr., and endorsing Donald Trump. So Matt, could we cue that up, please? We have the video here. Guys, let's go ahead and take a listen.
Gut tells me right now is that we just have to keep being honest. I got to just keep being honest. I got to keep focusing on what matters the most outside of party lines. I need to focus on a vision that goes beyond November. And if that means that we stay in, and, you know, there's benefits to staying in. If we get over 5% of the vote, we actually establish ourselves as a party. 71% of Americans want a strong third party with a real shot at winning. There's even public funds available if we get over 5% of the vote. So we could get, I think it's like $13.5 million in public funds to keep the party going. And that's, you know, that's worth something. That means that we can position for a real third party election in 2028 where we don't have to go around and spend tens of millions of dollars on ballot access, which means that we can spend all of that time and money campaigning. So, you know, there's two options that we're looking at. And one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Okay, let's go over that, because the most consequential part is right there at the end. There's two options that we're looking at. One is staying in, forming the new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and a Waltz presidency because we draw more votes from Trump. So
Guess we've settled that question.
There's a lot going on there. I mean, look, we haven't gotten a response yet from Bobby or anybody else, but it's pretty clear. We talked about this yesterday.
Also,
We're
she bankrolls the campaign.
Yeah, she's literally. Oh, actually, there's a bit of news on that. She got a refund. I'm going to pull this up. Actually, from the campaign. Here, there was just some news that came out this morning. Yeah. Nicole Shanahan got a $925,000 amount of money that she put into the campaign actually refunded last month. I'm not exactly sure how campaign refunds work. That's a
Sometimes
whole other
a loan.
sign.
Sometimes a loan. You can also do it weird. Yeah.
Okay, let's think about this. We haven't heard yet from Bobby or RFK Jr. any response from the campaign. But regardless, I mean, when the campaign's running mate is like, we don't know what to do, and there haven't been a lot of campaign events, and she basically is like, we don't want Kamala Harris to win, and they would take away votes from Trump, because empirically now at this point they are taking votes away from Trump. It does seem quite both logical if that's who they want to align themselves with, but more importantly, I mean, what a crazy and a shocking thing to say kind of out loud if they do stay in the race.
As a running mate.
Yeah, as a running mate especially. I mean, it's like, what? Wait, so are you in this to help? So, I mean, basically, it's like, were you in this to hurt Joe Biden? Like, what are you doing here?
This is the kind of thing that strategists or aides will strategically leak to Politico playbook, right? Like, this is not the kind of thing that you're used to seeing just blurted out in full transparency on a podcast from the running mate / main financier, right? She's playing two roles there, running mate and major, I should say, not main, but major financier, maybe main, but I don't have the numbers right in front of me. So it's fascinating. The other thing that stood out to me from that, I haven't seen getting a lot of attention, is she says if we can get 5% of the vote, that
That's a lot less than they used to say.
That as a ceiling, the fact that she's talking about maybe getting 5% of the vote here in August 2024, when they were hitting up to 17% before they felt like they had really even gotten off the ground 6 months ago. We were talking about potential Perot levels, and with good reason, because it looked like there was a snowball starting to roll down the hill with money, with kind of organic support from the public, a smart strategy. But the fact that right now they're only talking about perhaps a ceiling of 5% of the vote, that is in and of itself from the major financier, and the running mate herself. Yeah. That's huge. This could be a very different convention.
Also, I question her investment acumen if she's going to put like $100 million in to earn $13.5 million.
Did she put $100 million?
I don't think.
Let's not go crazy.
I think she floated that she could potentially do that.
Well, I mean, it does just. Honestly, this is a bad look for the third party world, is the way I would put it. Because now you're effectively taking yourself out of the independent sphere and you're saying, well, we actively hate not just both candidates the way that, one of the things that Bobby always tries to do is be like, look, I don't agree with Trump. I don't like Trump. I don't want to endorse Trump. There's so many things I'm very different in. That's why that you should vote for me. I am also not like the Democrats. I haven't sold out or whatever on X, Y, and Z. But with this running mate situation, you're like, well, it would mean Kamala Harris and Walz would win, and it would draw votes away from Trump. So do we drop out and endorse him? You're like, wow, okay, well, that's actually a very different look for the third party system. And frankly, a lot of the appeal that RFK had, I actually thought a huge amount of the appeal that he's had, just anecdotally from talking from people who are independent, is they don't like Trump either. Yeah, if they did, they would vote for him.
It was the double haters with Trump and Biden.
Bingo, right? Exactly. Yeah. And so whenever you kind of explicitly align yourself with Trump, and again, to be clear, Kennedy's not done this, but having his running mate do it is very significant. So Ryan, I wonder if this comment itself, I don't know if RFK Jr. voters who are already, they're very enthusiastic people, are going to be happy with him, for his running mate saying this.
No, it's totally bizarre.
Right.
Like Emily said, it's so weird to see it done kind of out in the open like that. And we've had this long running conversation about who does he hurt more, Biden or Trump? And for her to just come out and say, like, actually, we are going to hurt Donald Trump if we stay in the race, and therefore we think we might need to get out, is such a curveball from the beginning when Democrats were panicked that Kennedy was going to be drawing.
Right. Honestly, Republicans should be the ones
Didn't
panicking.
he run initially briefly in the
he
Democratic primary?
Yeah, basically, they forced him out because he wasn't allowed basically to do anything. Biden wouldn't debate him. They effectively pretended he didn't exist, even though he was polling at like 20%. I thought it was smart that he did the third party. One of the things that, this is the thing, as a person who actually does care about the third party ecosystem, it is disappointing because she's correct both about the amount of money, public funds, and the ballot access, and being able to build something around some sort of unity ticket. That's how all third parties start. They start out very, very small. Look at Europe. You can go from literally 5% of the vote. Look at what the Front National or whatever in France. You can literally go from like 5% to like the number 2 party in the entire country.
Parliamentary system, though, but yeah.
Sure, but here, it's all about ballot access. It's about names, and this is something that, what was the ticket that Trump ran on in 2000? What was that called?
Oh, the Reform Party.
Reform Party.
Yeah, this was the original theory of this was the original theory of the Reform Party, which was birthed from the Ross Perot, victory for third party candidates. And so that was a brief moment in time where it seemed likely. So anyway, I think it's very disappointing for like the overall third party system. But generally, I think it's a bad look for RFK, honestly. And if he does do it, it does look like you were kind of in this all along to just hurt Joe Biden. And that's not what you set out to do.
What people in RFK Jr.'s social circle said at the time was that because of who he and Cheryl Hines are friends with and the dinner parties that they go to, et cetera, they don't want to do anything to help elect Trump.
Yeah, they don't want
to. Cheryl Hines
definitely
doesn't want.
They don't want to be the Ralph Nader of 2000, like socially for a while.
Or the Jill Stein.
Yeah. He was killed, if you'll remember that.
Yeah, and so to go from there to now the vice presidential nominee is worried about hurting Trump is just a wild swing.
Certainly.
My prediction is he just drops out.
It could be.
I think that's really
because he's plummeting.
Right. Well,
5 is not a floor for him. those arrows are pointed downward.
Right. And to navigate all of those different sort of scenarios, as we were just discussing, the best thing to do is just quietly drop out and say, I was crushed by the DNC machine. I was crushed by the anti-third party machine of American politics. I was crushed by the establishment, and maybe try to rebuild something else afterwards. But Saagar's point is so important that this candidacy was built on double haters. It was built on people being upset with both Trump and Biden. It's viewers of shows like this, like, who just can't stand what both parties are doing. And you cannot capitulate to that at all.
Okay. Let's take some questions from the chat. We're going to take, 5 questions, Griffin?
Yeah, 3 to 4.
Okay. We'll take 3 to 4 questions, and then we actually have a guest standing by. So while we stand by and get that guest ready, Crystal actually taped a monologue and a reaction to last night that we will play for all of you. So let's go ahead and begin with questions from locals. A reminder, everybody, these are from our premium subscribers. You can become a premium subscriber and try a 1-month free trial, DNC free at breakingpoints.com. First, who is that dude on the couch? That's producer Griffin.
Yeah.
How do people not know producer Griffin?
Yeah,
Come
who
on.
is this, by
This
the
is
way?
the man with the mustache.
This is a man who
He was
literally
here when we came in.
I'm from Barstool.
Yeah, he's actually
Griffin's here with his mustache and the thrift store, grandma sweater.
I bring the ghosts.
Yeah,
He lives-
he's
he
the one
lives
who,
in this
he's our
studio.
ghost supplier, actually. He's the distributor. Emily, did you bring Bud Light Lime to Chicago?
No, but
You drink Bud Light Lime?
I think I said something recently about how Bud Light Lime is not a bad beverage.
That's a whole other.
It's not bad, but I did buy some Corona for us, but
That's true.
Saagar
Brought
didn't
me
touch
some
it.
LaCroix.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I did.
Do you think RFK Jr. is just fielding cabinet position proposals? This is from Cebus 101. What do you think? Do you think he wants, allegedly the reporting was that he went to Trump and was like, give me HHS and I'll drop out and endorse you. And they said no.
Well, if you remember at the RNC, we were supposed to interview. I was
That's
supposed
true,
to
you
interview
were, yeah.
Bobby.
I don't
and-
really remember all this because I was in the midst of wedding planning, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. But the video leaked of that
that's right,
conversation, and so his day got completely shot. And I think that's where we started to really see the momentum halting. Is that it looked like he was cozying up to Trump, but I think maybe it was more than anything. I'm curious what you guys think, but more than anything, I think it's just sort of a way to negotiate a good exit at this point. I don't think he had that in mind, but I think it's what maybe it's becoming.
What do you think, Ryan? You think he's going for a cabinet position under Trump?
Yeah,
And more importantly, why won't Trump give it to him then?
Yeah. So the reporting was that the Trump campaign felt that it was too aggressive and explicit of a quid pro quo.
Right.
He denied that when we reported this originally at Counterpoints. I did not mention that RFK Jr. denied it. My apologies for not mentioning that.
Yeah.
Accountability here.
He's not
it also doesn't
confirmed by
sound
the Senate.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
well. There are czar positions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
he could
have.
take like an
He
executive.
could be the
office
vitamin
job.
czar.
The vitamin czar. I mean, hey, it'd be worse.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show. Help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.